I used to believe that dogs could lock their jaws, pit bulls in particular. Um, I know there was one other breed that people used to talk about that lock jaws, like bulldogs or something like that. Even breeders would say that they could lock their jaws. And so that was one thing that did scare me. So people do discriminate from our dogs, even if we're not sure that they have pit in them. If they have that pit looking jawline, they'll be more afraid of them, I've noticed, than maybe a dog that looks like a poodle or something like that. As far as discrimination, we had a really serious case where a owner that lives around here would walk her dog every single day past our house, and her dog was a small dog. She was afraid of pit bulls. And Nico would get excited when they would walk by, and he would go to the fence and he would bark. And he wouldn't jump on the fence. He wouldn't put his paws over the fence. He would just bark and jump up and down. And she started calling animal control every single day. And when animal control asked, did he put his paws over, which is illegal, or did he jump on the fence? She'd say, no, he's never done anything, but I know he will someday because he's a pit bull. And he's going to jump over the fence and he's going to kill my dog and hurt me. As a matter of fact, one of the times the uh, animal control officer showed up at the house when I was actually there, he had informed me that he had been coming by for the last several days and that he had taken his stick, his police stick, and was banging on our fence. And we have a wrought iron fence. He wanted to see how Nico would behave under an annoyance of a circumstance with his territory. And so he's banging with this stick on a metal fence. And he said that Nico walked over very slowly, peeked around the house at the fence at the officer, gave him a dirty look, and then turned around and walked away. One time we had a guy who was coming to help us work on the house, and he was terrified of dogs. He'd been bitten by every kind of breed of dog you could think of, being in people's backyards and in their houses doing jobs around the house. Dogs don't trust them because they're in their territory. And so Nico, I didn't realize, he was laying down sleeping behind me on the bottom of the stairs, which are right by the front door. And so the man came in, and as he's walking past me, his eyes get really big, and he says, wow, that's the most mellow dog I've ever seen. What breed is that? And I said, oh, he's a pit bull. And the look of shock on his face was pretty amazing, because he thought pit bulls were the worst dogs that would attack a person without even thinking. Like they were insane and they would just go after you. And I have found that every pit bull that I've ever met has always been the friendliest and the best behaved. I know that people don't really understand about training pit bulls because they forget that pit bulls are pit bull terriers. And terriers have a certain kind of personality where they're stubborn and they're independent. So it takes a lot longer to train them, but they are amazing dogs. Hank is our big boy, and he's the scariest dog to people because of his size. They automatically assume he has to be mean, he has to be aggressive because he has this kind of mouth. He could have pit in him, he might not have pit in him. We know he has Rottweiler, we believe he has Ridgeback, but we don't know what the other breeds are. The point of fact is that we still need to look at dogs on an individual basis. When Hank was a puppy, my brother came to visit, and he got really rough with him, and he scared him really bad. He came up, snuck up behind him, and just like screamed. And I thought for a second that he was just going to pee right there on the floor because he was so terrified. And he was probably about 4 months old. He was also a pound puppy. Somebody turned in all the puppies. Some male dog got in when their Rottweiler was in heat, and she got pregnant, and they didn't know what to do with the puppies. So Hank is a kind of a mix of dog and personality of dog that I'm not really as accustomed to as I am with pit bulls, because I have been around pit bulls since I was in my early 20s. LA holds a lot of pit bulls. They're everywhere. No one's really afraid of them unless they're coming after you, because they're taught to do that for defense. But Hank was kind of a new personality for me. And he is just a big goofball. He acts like a tiny little puppy in a massive dog size. And so he's klutzy, he falls down the stairs, and he lolls his tongue out, but he spits everywhere, which is the one negative side of Hank, is his spit is kind of gross. But other than that, he's a total sweetheart, and people are just terrified because of his size. You know, maybe if he was 50 pounds, they wouldn't be so afraid. Maybe the shape of the jaw, they wouldn't have so much of an issue. But people just discriminate because of looks. And they really miss out on the joy of having an animal love you and be able to love an animal like Hank because of the way he looks.
Toward our best phones. The network more people rely on gives you more. Attention, anyone on the
But I mean, look, it's still a fact. Half the American people think this guy should have been impeached.
What? I just tapped you. Why are you so excited? I just tapped you on the shoulder. He's coming off. Look at that jawline. What's that all about? What was that all about? What's that? Are you a piggy? I think he's a piggy. Eden. He's a piggy.